According to a new book by Michael Wolff, Rudy Giuliani, in the days leading up to the January 6th Electoral College certification in Congress, Rudy Giuliani was repeatedly telling Donald Trump, and apparently anybody else who would listen, that Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States at the time, and the guy overseeing the counting of the Electoral College votes, Giuliani was telling everybody that Pence actually had the authority under the Constitution to overturn the results of the election or to just not certify it at all, and then boom, Trump gets to stay president of the United States. Here is what Wolff wrote in his book. This is a direct excerpt published in New York Magazine. This is Giuliani in the days before the vote counting. Giuliani was, quote, drinking heavily and in a constant state of excitation, often almost incoherent in his agitation and mania. Again, that is a direct quote from Michael Wolff's book. Giuliani was obsessed with the idea that Pence could somehow preclude Congress from affirming President Joe Biden's election victory. This quote from Giuliani, again according to the book, "There is no question, none at all, that the VP can do this. That's a fact. The Constitution gives him the authority not to certify. It goes back to the state legislatures." Here's the thing. Now, I obviously cannot verify one way or another whether or not Rudy Giuliani was walking around in a drunken stupor for days before the Electoral College votes were counted. But I can go ahead and tell you that there's actually no mechanism in the United States Constitution that does what Rudy Giuliani claims Mike Pence could have done. That's not a thing. And I would think that somebody that went to law school, practiced law, worked closely with presidential administrations, I would think they would know that. So the question is, did Rudy Giuliani knowingly lie to Trump and try to appease him by saying, hey, listen, no, Pence could totally do this, don't worry? Or was he in fact so stupid that he actually thought that was a thing that could happen? Now, last week, Giuliani actually got barred from practicing law in the state of New York for 2 years. He's one of the first attorneys to be, punished by the Bar Association in the state of New York in recent years. So he's already kind of proven that he doesn't know what he's doing. He is not trusted enough by the State Bar of New York to practice law. But this is the guy that was walking around, may or may not have been drunk off his butt, according to Michael Wolff, telling the president, don't worry, the Constitution totally says a thing that you could actually verify it doesn't say, but I know you're not going to do that, and Pence can overturn the election. So at the very least, this actually helps explain why Donald Trump has been so mad at Mike Pence for the last few months, if he took Rudy Giuliani's advice and really did believe that Pence could do this. Pence's role, the vice president's role, in the Electoral College counting is a ceremonial one. All they do is oversee it. Kamala Harris is going to oversee the next one. That's what they do. They can't overturn anything. They can't remand it back to the states. They're just there to be seen, to bang the gavel if needed, and then move on with their lives. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.